There were numerous games I wanted to play when I first got my Dreamcast. Some like Sonic, Crazy Taxi, and Daytona I played before, but others I only know by name. Case in point, Jet Set Radio. Released in June of 2000 in Japan and October for North America, this stylish platformer is one of the most highly rated games found on the console, earning multiple awards and praise for its gameplay, art style, and music. The series would continue with Jet Set Radio Future on the original Xbox and a Game Boy Advance port of the original game. But after that, the series was laid dormant for years, only to reappear as cameos in games like the Sega All-Star series and cosmetic DLC in a variety of games. But the series would also live on in spiritual successors like Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, with the series composer taking part in the project. I should really look into that game. Outside of short clips of gameplay and seeing it in All-Stars Racing, I didn't know anything about Jet Set Radio before jumping in. The art style definitely caught my eye, and the gameplay did look fun, not to mention a lot of you guys requested this game in my original Dreamcast video, so there's enough reason to try this game out for myself. Plus, like with the Crazy Taxi series, Jet Set Radio is making a comeback with a new game coming out. So before that arrives, let's see how the original game holds up today. This is Jet Set Radio. Wait a minute. Yeah, in North America, the game was changed to Jet Grind Radio due to a trademark for Jet Set already being taken. This only affects the US release, as the PAL version released in November kept the original game's title. Future releases like ports and sequels were able to use the original name in the US luckily, as the trademark issues were no longer a problem. What's funny is the name Jet Grind Radio is only used for the game's title, manual, menu text, and credits. The game's story kept the original name. An interesting piece of gaming history I learned when looking the game up. Okay, with the fun fact out of the way, let's actually talk about the game. Within the city of Tokyo, the police and the city's youth are at war, with multiple gangs formed and claiming sections of the city to use as a blank canvas for their artwork. Equipped with high-tech inline skates and plenty of spray cans, these punks will run all over, marking up every wall, billboard, and structure they see with graffiti, and bailing before the authorities even get a chance to apprehend them. While dealing with the cops, these groups are also facing off against each other, making sure no rival gangs come in taking turf for themselves. We follow the GGs, consisting of Beat, Gum, and Tab, as they protect their turf at Shibuya-cho, while also facing off against rivals in the neighboring areas. The adventure starts off simple enough, but soon goes off the wall with how the police try to deal with these kids. At first it's simple with one hard-boiled cop and his foot soldiers after you, but then escalates to riot squads, police dogs, parachute troops, even tanks and attack choppers. All of this because kids are running around leaving some graffiti. Damn, I wonder what happened when you litter. And as you progress through the story, it only gets more insane as you soon get mixed in a shady organization's plot for world domination, all because of a mysterious record you've been finding pieces of. With this group after you, the enemies within levels become maniacs with Molotov cocktails and bombs, others with jetpacks and machine guns, and then guys rocking frickin' flamethrowers. How did we go from police foot chases to this? I mean, I guess it makes sense for a criminal group to do this. The cops, on the other hand, really shouldn't be using tanks against a bunch of kids. All of the events that transpire are narrated through Tokyo-to's #1 underground pirate radio station, Jet Set Radio, hosted by the one and only Professor K. The main cast do have some moments where they have dialogue, but the main plot is all told through Professor K, giving updates on the aftermath of the completed mission and where to head next, all while answering listeners' questions and dropping his own 2 cents on events. And I always had fun seeing these segments. His exaggerated animations and dialogue was always entertaining. You can even see the dude spitting during cutscenes because of how excited he gets. The actor voicing Professor K sounded like he was having a blast with the character. Hope whoever voices him in the new game can live up to this performance. The story does its job with the world building, and without taking itself too seriously, can go crazier and crazier with things all the way to the final battle. But what truly makes Jet Set Radio special is its presentation. Even today, the cel-shaded art style keeps it from looking dated compared to other early 2000s games. The characters have their own looks and dance moves that show off their personality, and all the graffiti art looks amazing, with plenty of additional designs that you can collect as you play. Plus you can even design your own graffiti to leave across Tokyo-to, letting you too express yourself. Just have to make sure you have enough room in your VMU. Also, it's really funny how every time you start the game, you get this little warning that says graffiti is an act of vandalism and not to do it. Gotta make sure no one copies what they see. The characters and artwork look great, sure, but Tokyo-to itself is truly beautiful. The countless streets to skate down, buildings to jump across, and secret areas tucked away all make it fun to roam around and paint. A nice touch to the zones is each one has a specific time of day to give it their own look. Shibuya-cho is set to midday, which help the colors pop out more. The shops all around with cars driving by and people chatting outside makes it feel like the big city. Then you have Kogane-cho set at sunset to emphasize the calm, quiet side of Tokyo. Unlike the neighboring districts with a bigger emphasis on entertainment, this residential area by the water is more peaceful. Well, until you start causing havoc, but hey, who's pointing fingers here? Finally, there's Benten-cho, the city of the night. Covered in numerous neon signs across every building, you have a little shopping center with a theater, the subways are passing by that you can skate along the rails, and plenty of storefronts to mark up. The only zone that doesn't follow the set time of day is Grind City, which was added to the US and PAL version after the initial release in Japan. Based on New York City, we get a cool Times Square level at sunset and an NYC street during the day. A cool addition to the international release that adds more content to the package. Every area looks amazing and changes enough to ensure you're not seeing similar locales too often. And along with a beautiful art style is just as, if not better, soundtrack, consisting of genres from hip-hop, jazz, electronic, and even metal. The songs are catchy and had me tapping my foot to the beat at times, and what I didn't expect to hear was frickin' Rob Zombie of all people in this game. Imagine skating along the rooftops of Grind City and hearing Dragula playing in the background. By far the best surprise with this game. Outside of licensed music, there's plenty of originals here that are just as good that you can listen to via the radio in the GG's base. Songs will also rotate during stages, so if you're taking a while, you'll at least not be stuck on loop with the music. Which is good, because it's time to talk about the gameplay. And man, it was definitely an experience. Before starting a level, you get to choose which character to play as, with 3 stats changing how each character plays. Power is how much health you get, technique is speeding and turning, and graffiti is how complex the commands are for spray painting, rewarding higher scores for the more tricky moves. So if you ever have a specific issue like taking too much damage or maneuvering around spaces, changing a character to better reflect the stage could help you progress. For a majority of levels, you'll be dropped into a stage and have to spray a set number of locations that are marked with a red arrow. To do this, you'll have to collect spray cans laid about and skate to the destination. Once at a location, you'll complete a string of commands by spinning the analog stick to earn points. Finishing the art in one go rewards you with the most points, but if you slip up on the actions, you'll restart the combo until the artwork is finished or you run out of cans. Sounds simple, right? Well, the Dreamcast analog stick isn't the best at keeping your finger in place, causing me to mess up combos during the more intricate stages of the minigame. And when you waste a full can of spray paint and have to go grab more, it can be really annoying to go back. And while I could just change characters for an easier time, I still wanted to try to get a good grade, so I muscled through it. And over time I did get better. While not 100% perfect, the issue with the analog stick became less frequent. As more of the area is marked, the police will begin to take notice, calling in backup to try to apprehend you, and when that isn't enough, then they'll send in the big guns. I didn't know anything about the police system before playing, I just thought it was a simple skate and spray game, but the authorities make things a lot more tricky. The lower level guys aren't too much of an issue, but some of them just never leave their designated areas, resulting in me just running by and quickly spraying, hoping they don't get in my way, which most of the time wasn't the case, either interrupting my combo or taking too much of my health. Not to mention when the bigger guys show up, I was losing my mind just trying to finish, and things only got even more frustrating when I had to deal with the camera and movement. When you're grinding from rail to rail, skating along the walls and doing cool tricks, the game is a lot of fun. But there is just as many moments where I mess up because the game doesn't register what I was aiming for, either just missing a rail I wanted to grind, or slamming into a wall when I wanted to skate along it. Plus, when you jump off something, the movement in the air is very limited, causing me to completely miss what I was aiming for. And when all your momentum is gone, getting it back can take a while. The camera really shows its age. Without a second analog stick, all you have to control the camera is the left trigger to recenter it, which is fine until you realize that spray painting is also set to the left trigger. So when you speed by a spot to spray, the camera jitters to what you're spraying before setting it back behind you, making it difficult to prepare for your next jump. This only gets worse when you have stages asking you to spray rival Rudies, resulting in the camera going crazy as you try to spray them as many times as possible. The X and Y buttons aren't used at all, so something could have been assigned there so two important commands aren't locked on the same trigger. You'll have moments where you just can't see where you're going, like jumping off certain ramps and skating around tight corners. You just have to learn what the layout is and adapt accordingly. But even if you know the layout of stages, it can still be punishing to complete. Like Grand Square having you grind across the rooftops, and if you mess up, boom, you get sent down to the bottom and have to take an elevator to go back up. I wasn't having the best time with the gameplay, honestly, venting to my friend who played the series on how I love the visuals and music, but couldn't get into how it played. That was until Chapter 3. While the enemies were harder compared to the earlier chapters, traversing all the previous locations became a lot easier. I knew how to move faster, dodge obstacles, and spray paint more efficiently. Plus, as the story progressed, more characters were unlocked after completing challenges. Some were simple maneuvering tasks, while others were races, but both showed me new paths and tricks within the stages. And having more characters available allowed me to pick a character to better suit my playstyle. Not all of the problems were resolved, of course. The camera still wasn't the best, and there were still times where skating around would end with me slamming face first into a wall or getting shot by enemies. But I managed. Luckily for us, Just Set Radio did receive an updated port in 2012 that would tweak some issues, which was literally removed off digital storefronts last December. Thanks, Sega. Funny enough, one console didn't get delisted, and that was the PlayStation Vita. I bought the game there and had a much better time playing. The second analog stick for the camera helped with tighter areas and maneuvering. You can turn off the Graffiti camera shot so it doesn't move when spraying smaller objects. Plus, you get extra features like using the touchscreen when leaving the graffiti and using the camera and capture gallery to create new graffiti designs. So while the Dreamcast version does have some issues, at least the later ports did take the time to fix some of them. Just wish it didn't get taken off places like Steam. Going back to the Dreamcast version, while the start of my journey wasn't the smoothest, once I got a better handle with how to play, it became a much better experience. The game has a steep learning curve. You'll mess up jumps, get hit a lot, and not know what's in front of you at times. But eventually, with enough time and practice, you'll have a better time performing cool tricks all over Tokyo-to. The issues won't go away entirely, but considering I'm still playing both versions, there's clearly something here I'm enjoying. Once you complete the stage objective, you'll be graded on specific criteria, like your graffiti combo on the red and optional green arrows, tricks performed, and how much health and spray cans you still have. With all that tallied up, you receive a title based on your score, with Jet being the equivalent of an S rank. One problem with this is once you complete a stage, you won't be able to replay it, and when you hit credits, you're just sent back to Chapter 1. Which isn't too bad since the game isn't too long, ranging about 3-ish hours. But certain characters are locked behind a Jet rating, so you'll have to finish the stage, and if you don't get Jet, shut off the system and load it back up. Again, another issue fixed with the Vita version. Outside of the story, you do have side missions to take part in, like races, score attack, and Jet graffiti, which are just the story stages without the cops. Obviously, I had the most fun with this one since I could just chill and improve my skills. There were online features via SegaNet, but obviously no luck using that unless you have the right attachments. It was just used to share graffiti designs with others and leaderboards. Nothing major. While not the smoothest experience, I don't regret my time with Jet Set Radio. The gameplay may show its age in some areas, but if you give it some time, it could be a lot of fun. Plus, with an over-the-top story, beautiful art style, and amazing music, I can see why people hold this game in high regards. Also, my friend Richie did say the sequel fixed a lot of the issues found here, so yeah, probably should ask to borrow his copy of Jet Set Radio Future. I wish the game was still available on Steam, so I could say try it out for yourself, but with it being delisted, unless you have a Vita laying around, you're just gonna have to find another way to play this Sega classic. At least there's a new game in the series finally coming out, so if you can't play the original, there's at least something to play in the future, and I definitely plan on playing it myself. So, what did you guys think of Jet Set Radio? What aspects did you like the most? Was it the visuals, the music, and did you have any issues with the gameplay? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified when I upload in the future. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you all next time. Bye. Frickin' Rob Zombie of all people. That's crazy. Please be in the new game. That would be awesome.